We don't own the house anymore, my mom shrugged. That's not my problem, I shot back. I refused to be their backup plan. But instead of taking responsibility, they called the cops and lied to take me down. Hey everyone, before we jump into today's video, I just need a quick favor. Our channel's been slowing down a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button. It's quick, it's free, and it helps us keep creating content for you. Your support truly means a lot. Thank you. Now, let's get into it. My name is Ethan, I'm 32 years old, and honestly, I never imagined I'd be sharing something this personal online. But after everything I've been through, I feel like I need to let it out. Maybe it'll help me make sense of it all, or maybe it'll be a warning for others dealing with toxic family dynamics. I've always been the responsible one in my family, not because I wanted to be, but because it was expected. Anytime something went wrong, it was on me to fix it. If things were unfair, I was supposed to be the understanding one. My parents, Jason and Karen, have always acted entitled. Even when I was a kid, it was clear I was the dependable one. Meanwhile, my younger sister Madison was treated like she could do no wrong. If she wanted something, she got it. If she made a mistake, they'd justify it. And if I complained, I was told I was being bitter or dramatic. That pattern never changed. They never said Madison was the favorite, but their actions made it obvious. I worked part-time jobs and took out loans to pay for college. They covered Madison's tuition completely. I saved up to buy a used car. They got Madison a brand new one for her 18th birthday. It was always things like that, subtle reminders that I didn't matter as much. It hurt, but I kept telling myself that if I worked hard enough, I could become independent and never have to rely on them again. Then, 5 years ago, they came to me desperate. They were behind on their mortgage and about to lose the house. I always knew they weren't great with money, but I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. They sat me down, full of guilt and excuses, saying I was their last hope. They reminded me of all they'd done for me, twisting the past into a debt I supposedly owed. It didn't feel like a choice. They made it seem like I was obligated to help. I was hesitant. I'd only just started getting my finances together. But they promised it was temporary. Just a little help until they got back on their feet. They said they'd pay me back. So I did it. Like an idiot, I agreed. For 5 years, I paid their mortgage. It wasn't easy. I cut expenses, skipped vacations, and sacrificed to make sure they had a home. They never paid me back, not once. But I told myself they were my parents. Maybe this was just what family does. Then a few months ago, I found out something that made my blood boil. Madison was getting married, not a surprise. But the gift my parents gave her? The house. The same house I'd been paying for. And they never even told me. I found out through someone else who assumed I already knew. When I confronted them, they acted like I was overreacting. You're doing well financially, my mom said. You don't need the house, my dad added. Madison's starting a family. She needs stability. As if I hadn't just spent 5 years making sure they had stability. As if I hadn't sacrificed my own life for theirs. And Madison, she just smirked and said, "Oh, come on, Ethan. Don't be so dramatic. It's just a house. Just a house." I was furious. I told them I was done. No more support. No more playing the responsible one. No more being their safety net. I walked away. I thought that would be the end of it. I figured maybe they'd feel a little guilt. Maybe they'd realize they crossed a line. But no. 2 months later, they showed up at my apartment, with their bags. Like it was no big deal. "We figured we'd stay here for a while," my dad said, stepping inside like he owned the place. "Just until we get back on our feet," my mom added. That snapped me out of my shock. "We don't own the house anymore," she said, like I didn't already know. "We assumed." "No," I cut her off. "That's not happening." They looked stunned. "What do you mean, no?" my dad asked, as if that was the craziest thing I could have said. "I mean you're not staying here. Not now. Not ever." Their faces changed, from shock to anger. "After everything we've done for you," my mom hissed. "Done for me." I laughed. You mean making me pay your mortgage for 5 years just so you could give the house to Madison? Ethan, you're being ridiculous, Madison said, appearing at the door. I hadn't even noticed she was there. Why are you even here? I asked. I drove them, she said. And honestly, you owe them. They raised you. Now it's your turn. I owe them, I said. I already paid their mortgage. What have you done? She scoffed. I accepted the house because they offered it. Not my fault you're bitter. That was the last straw. I told them to leave and slammed the door behind them. They banged on the door, yelled that I was selfish and ungrateful, but I didn't care. I was done. A week passed. No calls. No guilt-tripping texts from Madison. Then one evening, I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I checked the peephole, and my stomach dropped. A police officer. Trying to stay calm, I opened the door. "Can I help you, officer?" A middle-aged man with a weary look studied me closely. "Are you Ethan last name?" "Yeah." He flipped open a notepad. "Your parents, Jason and Karen last name, filed a report claiming you vandalized their house. Well, your sister's house now. They say you broke a window last night. Do you know anything about that?" I almost laughed. "You're seriously telling me they called the cops on me for something I didn't do?" The officer sighed, rubbing his temple. "That's why I'm here. They say you were there around 11 p.m., and they even have a witness statement from your sister." Unbelievable. I took a deep breath. I haven't been near that house, and I can prove I was home the entire night. The officer raised an eyebrow. "You have proof?" I pulled out my phone and opened my security camera app. I'd installed cameras months ago after a neighbor's package got stolen. The system records automatically whenever there's movement. I scrolled to the footage from last night and hit play. The video showed me arriving home at 7 p.m. and not leaving afterward. The camera had a clear view of my front door. No one came or went. I even had time-stamped footage of myself standing on my balcony at 11:15 p.m., right when they claimed I was vandalizing a house miles away. The officer watched for a moment, then nodded. "That's solid evidence. Did they try to reach you yesterday?" he asked. I showed him my phone. No calls. No messages. "I didn't even think about them yesterday," I said, crossing my arms. "They're lying." The officer exhaled slowly and closed his notebook. "All right. I had a feeling something was off. Your sister said she saw you, but this footage proves that's impossible." I let out a dry chuckle. "Of course she did." He gave me a knowing look. "I'll go back and question them again. But I'll be honest, filing a false police report is serious. If they push this, it could backfire on them." I shrugged. "That's their problem, not mine." He nodded. "I'll keep you posted if anything new comes up. Sorry for the hassle." After he left, I sank into my chair and exhaled deeply. My own family had actually tried to frame me, and they weren't done yet. Just 2 days later, I got another call. This time, it was worse. I was at work when my phone rang from an unknown number. Usually, I'd ignore it, but something told me to pick up. "Hello, Ethan," a professional voice said. "Yes, who's this?" "This is Officer Reynolds from the local police department. I need you to come down to the station regarding your parents, Jason and Karen." I frowned. "What's this about?" There was a pause. "It's better if we discuss it in person." That was never a good sign. I left work early and drove straight to the station. When I arrived, Officer Reynolds led me into a small room, sat down across from me, and set a folder on the table. "We investigated the vandalism claim your parents filed against you," Officer Reynolds began. I nodded, waiting. He sighed. "Things don't look good for them." I raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Leaning forward, he explained. "The window wasn't broken from the outside. It was shattered from inside." I blinked in disbelief. "Wait, what?" He nodded. An officer went back to check the scene. The glass fell inward, not outward, which means it was broken from inside the house. I let that sink in. "You're telling me they broke their own window?" He didn't say yes outright. What I'm saying is their story doesn't add up. Plus, a neighbor's security camera captured something pretty revealing. He turned his laptop toward me and hit play. The grainy footage, time-stamped at 11:02 p.m., showed my mom standing near the window. Suddenly, she swung an object, maybe a bat or a crowbar. The glass shattered and she recoiled. My dad appeared a few seconds later, waving his arms as if scolding her. Then they both hurried back inside. I stared at the screen, speechless. Officer Reynolds closed the laptop. Between this footage and your solid alibi, we have enough to charge them with filing a false police report. I rubbed my face, muttering, "Are you seriously telling me my own parents tried to get me arrested over a window they broke themselves?" "That's exactly what it looks like," he said grimly. "The question now is, do you want to press charges?" I froze. This was where they'd pushed me. They'd lied, manipulated, stolen from me, and when I finally refused to be their pawn, they tried to ruin me. Now, I had the power to fight back. I took a deep breath. What happens if I do? Officer Reynolds folded his hands. Filing a false police report is usually a misdemeanor, but since they falsely accused you of a crime, the charges could be more serious. They could face fines or even jail time. Jail for my parents? A part of me hesitated. As awful as they'd been, this was serious. But another part, the part that remembered every lie, every time they treated me like an ATM, felt nothing. I sat quietly, weighing the choice. A few years ago, I wouldn't have even considered it. But after everything they'd done, especially trying to frame me, I wasn't letting this slide. I met Officer Reynolds's eyes. "I want to press charges." He nodded, not surprised. "Understood. I'll start the paperwork. With the evidence we have, this should be a straightforward case. Their false report combined with video proof means they'll face real consequences." He hesitated. "Are you absolutely sure?" I exhaled slowly. They made their move. Now I was making mine. Officer Reynolds prepared the paperwork, and I signed everything as I left the station. I felt a mix of relief, frustration, and a little sadness. But most of all, I knew one thing. I was done being their scapegoat. 2 days later, my younger sister texted me. "What have you done?" I didn't reply. I expected more fallout, and sure enough, that evening my phone rang non-stop. First my mom, I ignored it. Then my dad, declined. Then my sister tried again. I finally turned my phone off. The next morning, Officer Reynolds called. "Your parents have been officially charged. A court date will be set soon. We'll keep you updated." I thanked him, a cold sense of satisfaction settling in. Later that day, there was a knock at my door. I knew who it was before I opened it. My sister stood there, furious. "How could you do this?" she hissed, pushing inside. "They're our parents. You actually got them charged." I folded my arms. "No. They called the police on themselves. I just made sure the truth came out." She scoffed. "Oh, come on. So they made a bad call." "A bad call?" I snapped. "They tried to get me arrested. They filed a false report, lied, and even broke their own window just to pin it on me. That's not a bad call. It's insane." She crossed her arms, glaring. "You could have just let it go." I laughed bitterly. Like I let it go when I paid their mortgage for 5 years? When they handed our childhood home to you without a word? Or when they tried to move into my place the moment they gave away theirs? When exactly am I supposed to stop letting it go? Her stubbornness kicked in. "They're facing charges now. Do you realize what that means? If they get a record, it could ruin their retirement, their credit, everything. Their family." I shook my head. "No. They're your family. To me, they were just people who used me when they needed something." She looked away, biting her lip, clearly torn. Deep down, she knew I was right, but she'd been playing the golden child for too long to admit it. With a heavy sigh, she muttered, "So that's it? You're just going to ruin their lives over this?" "No," I said firmly. "They ruined their own lives. I just stopped saving them this time." She scoffed and shook her head. "I hope you're happy with yourself." Then she stormed out. For a while, I heard nothing from her. But my parents, they were furious. The messages came first, long rants about how I betrayed my own family, how they gave me life, how ungrateful I was. Then came the voicemails, my mom sobbing, my dad yelling, swinging between guilt trips and threats. I ignored them all. A week later, Officer Reynolds called with an update. "Your parents struck a deal with the DA," he said. "They admitted to filing a false police report in exchange for reduced charges. No jail time, but they'll have to pay fines and court costs." I smirked. "How much?" He gave me the number, enough to hit them where it hurts. The best part? Now that their false report was officially on record, if they ever tried anything like this again, the consequences would be much harsher. I thanked him and hung up, feeling something I hadn't in years: freedom. For so long, they treated me like a personal ATM, expecting me to provide for them. When I finally said no, they tried to destroy me. But in the end, they only destroyed themselves. My younger sister still wouldn't talk to me. Through the grapevine, I heard my parents were struggling to pay off the fines and begging distant relatives to bail them out. But this time, no one was buying their sob story. Months went by, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I could finally breathe. No more manipulative calls. No more unreasonable demands. No more feeling like I owed them something just because we shared blood. My parents stopped reaching out, probably realizing I wasn't going to cave. My sister went silent too. At first, I thought it was stubbornness, but deep down, I suspected something else: guilt. Guilt for standing by them. Guilt for benefiting from their favoritism. And maybe, just maybe, guilt for knowing I was right all along. Then, out of nowhere, she showed up at my door. I debated ignoring the knock, but curiosity won. When I opened the door, she was there, arms crossed, exhaustion written all over her face. "Can we talk?" I sighed. "That depends. Is this another attempt to guilt-trip me for refusing to let them walk all over me?" She shook her head. "No. I just wanted to check on you." That threw me off. "I'm fine," I said. She hesitated like she had more to say but wasn't sure how to start. Finally, she exhaled slowly. "They're struggling, you know." I let out a humorless chuckle. "Yeah, that happens when you commit crimes and get caught." She flinched. "They're still our parents." I leaned against the doorframe. "Are they?" Her brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" I sighed, feeling exhausted. Parents are supposed to love, support, and protect their kids. Not treat them like an endless bank account and then throw them under the bus when the money runs out. So tell me, do you really think they acted like parents? She looked away. "I don't know." I nodded. "Exactly." The silence stretched before she spoke again. "They're selling the house." I raised an eyebrow. "The one they gave you?" She stiffened and nodded. "They're broke. Can't pay the fines. Mom even quit her job because of the stress. They're asking for help." I scoffed. "Let me guess, they want me to fix this." Her silence said it all. I shook my head. "No." Her eyes widened. "You." "No," I repeated firmly. "They caused this. They made their choices. I'm done cleaning up their mess." She sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I knew you'd say that." "Then why are you here?" I asked. She hesitated. "Because I thought, maybe you'd still care." I studied her for a moment. "I do care. About myself. For once, I'm putting me first. If you can't accept that, maybe there's nothing left to talk about." Her jaw tightened. Without another word, she turned and walked away. That was the last time I saw any of them. Weeks later, a mutual friend mentioned my parents had officially lost the house. The same house I spent years paying for. The same house they gave to my sister without telling me. Now it was gone. And the kicker? My sister moved back in with them. No other place to go. The golden child. The favored one. Living with the very people who brought this on themselves. As for me, I thrived. Without their expectations weighing me down, I focused on myself. My career took off. I traveled. I built real friendships. For the first time, I felt free. Looking back, no regrets. They had countless chances to do right, to be decent. Instead, they chose greed, manipulation, and betrayal the moment I stopped letting them use me. In the end, karma did what karma does best. So, Reddit, what do you think? Did I go too far? Or did they finally get what they deserved? Let me know.